Hi, my name is Guy Tranian, a professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
My name is Kimberly Ingraham-Beck. I'm with Gretna Public Schools.
And this is CS4NE, and today we have a special treat.
Yes, we do.
So we have Jeff Ingram, who's going to talk to us a little bit about his own history. But before we get into that, can you tell me a few things about him? Because you know more than me.
I do.
As you usually do, actually.
He's my dad, and he teaches for various Catholic schools around the area of Greater Omaha.
All right. And is this where you learn to love technology?
It very much is, yes.
All right. So he's going to talk to us a lot about his involvement throughout the years, but also talk about, as I understand, about robotics and different ways that you can incorporate different devices. You know my love for robotics, and that is a theoretical love. I do not actually have robots. That is not true. I have some robots, but what I love about them, especially seeing kids interact, is they can see the physical reaction to a series of programming language commands. Yeah. And so it becomes real. On the screen, it feels, it is a video game in some ways, but when it translates into real world movement, I think it gets registered very differently.
I think
and it
the
gets
learning
embodied.
is tangible.
So let's go to the interview.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. We're so glad you were able to come.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Jeff Ingram, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of a nonprofit called Prairie STEM. And my first master's degree in technology was from 1987. And I've been coding, programming computers since the VIC-20, Commodore 64, Apple IIe, 2 Plus, then moved on to Macintoshes, PCs, etc. So I've been a lifelong educator, and technology has been front and center throughout all that career.
That's awesome. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days.
Well, so I've been on the CSTA board in Nebraska for the last couple of years. So that kind of rekindled my interest in programming and coding and what an important skill that is for students. The last about 6 years, I have been, as part of my role as Chief Operating Officer of the nonprofit Prairie STEM, I've been doing a lot of coding, primarily with physical computing devices in schools. Prior to that, I was a professional development specialist with Educational Service Unit number 3 in Omaha. In my current position, we do a lot with microbits, are kind of our favorite bread and butter, because we can use them with kindergartners up through high schoolers. You can start off with block coding and then move into Python, and they're engaging for the students. They've got all the sensors, they've got the LED array on the back. You can plug in servos. We've got the bit booster connections so that you can turn them into fully functional robots simply with a $15 device. So really powerful. One of our schools is requiring every student for this school year to purchase a microbit. So they need pencils, crayons, and a microbit at St. Wenceslas School, which I think is pretty cool that they place enough emphasis on that it is required for every student to have as they walk in the door. And being able to take it home, they can use that to build projects, again, robots, cars, whatever, and they can take it with them because it is their microbit. So I think that's really going to be a game changer for this year, that every student in the school will have a microbit as part of their learning package in their desks. So microbits, primarily block coding is most of what we do. The middle schoolers sometimes will branch out and do some Python programming, but the block coding works pretty well. And as you know, microbits are used in every school in the United Kingdom and now ubiquitously throughout the world. And so there is so much good curriculum, so many good projects. You can literally, if you have some spare time, just turn the students loose to go in and start working on the tutorials online and build something cool, make a game, do something with a friend. The love meter is very popular with the middle school crowd, I'll tell you. So that's a huge part of our programming. With the primary students, we start out with Dash and Dot and with the B-Bots. The B-Bots are kind of like the old turtle logo. When I was getting my first master's degree, Seymour Papert Mindstorms was the big push in technology education because they had taken a mainframe computer, plugged in a small robot to it, and the students could program to go forward, backward, left, right with turtle steps. We've also done the Nebraska Robotics Expo, which I've been associated with again since pretty close to the beginning. Dr. Paul Clark and Dr. Goman at UNO and Denny Hanley, et cetera, all did some cool stuff, made really exciting challenges for the students to do, programming challenges, driving challenges, et cetera, really engaging, again, getting the kids excited to be coding. I've also been on the NETA board for a number of years, and the Nebraska Educational Technology Association also is always trying to include the whole process of programming and how to partner with CSTA, et cetera. It's challenging because since COVID, everything's changed, as you well know. And so it's kind of a challenge getting these things, and our numbers are down. I think there's no other organization in the state that does more to push computer science and technology usage than the Nebraska Educational Technology Association. So I encourage anyone who does not know about NETA or is not a member to consider joining. We do 2 conferences a year, one in the fall, one in the spring, and always great events. It's inexpensive because it's just down the road a country mile, and fantastic stuff.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned all these awesome things that you're doing in your classroom, but do you have any specific resources that you use for curriculum?
Yeah, so we used the Code HS. We have used a lot of Hour of Code stuff. That's always been since that started in, I think, I think those early 2000s, maybe late 90s. I'm not exactly sure when they came up with code.org. But anyway, we use those resources a lot. There is such a depth and breadth of content on there that it's, again, even if a teacher has relatively little knowledge or understanding of programming, they can still go in and use that tool and do great things with it.
What about for your microbit lessons? Do you just use the repository on Microbit's website, or?
Yep, makecode.org. Yep. And again, you can program there in multiple environments. And so everything is online. We've used the iPads a little bit. We had a little bit of trouble with Bluetooth connectivity and the microbits. So it's at St. Wenceslas, they have mostly PCs or Chromebooks, and those all connect really well. It's just a simple USB connection. So yep, that's pretty much exclusively what we use for the microbits.
Awesome. All right. Well, any advice for teachers who may be teaching computer science for the first time this year?
Yeah, again, you don't have to know it all. That's one of my biggest lessons in life, is that just get in there. If you're excited about it, if you don't know how to do it, just hand out the microbits and let the kids explore, because they will figure it out, and then they will teach you. And then next class, you're ready because you had the first class teach you how to do it. So there is great learning to be done, and the kids love it. It's a fun thing for them, and it really gives them that logical, sequential thought process to do great things in whatever subject or topic they're doing. It gives them a step-by-step way of progressing through troubleshooting. Sometimes it can be frustrating when the code doesn't work. You're going, man, what the heck? I was sure that this was right, and you left out a parentheses, or it was a backslash, not a forward slash, or some goofy thing. So those tools, those skills at coping and dealing with failure are so important for students to learn for every age. And so I think again, my advice would be just get in there and try it, because there's great stuff to do. It's a lot of fun. The kids enjoy it, and it will help them in life.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great day.
I do think I need the love meter. I'm just saying, this is the first time when I'm like, okay, microbits, maybe. All right. So what did you think were the most important highlights from this very dense interview?
I really liked hearing just the different kind of robotics, the evolution, I guess, of the robotics in the classroom, and how it's still being integrated today, and the concepts are still the same that we're learning with those.
And so many of the programming languages have their origins. So yes, they look very different right now. And with AI, we have a lot of help in writing that code, but the principles really haven't changed quite as much as we'd like to believe. So those are the things that are important. The thing that struck me, and it always does, is that idea that we don't have to know everything. That sense that you have to know everything is really not helpful. And in the case of technology, it's never helpful because we never know everything.
No.
And well, we are talking about computer science, but that's actually true of most of the things we teach. We can know a lot, but not everything. So we have to proceed with some confidence that we can bridge that and we can learn with our students side by side.
Absolutely.
And be honest about that.
Well, and I think with technology growing at such a fast rate, the likelihood of our students needing to think on their feet and play around with technology is super important, and we might as well start teaching that to them now.
Yeah, in a way, that's the most important thing, because we know that the technology, especially the younger they are, so I work with elementary kids, I look at kindergartners, and I know for a fact that whatever we're using today, we will not be using when they finish college.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
And so this is not about a specific device or a specific approach. This is really about learning how to tinker, how to think.
Yeah.
And that's what's primary. Okay.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time at CS4NE.